But now we're going to introduce our featured poet who has a brand new book out. His name is Nathan Brown. Nathan Brown is an author, songwriter, and award-winning poet living in Wimberley, Texas. He holds a PhD in English and journalism from the University of Oklahoma, where he taught for 17 years. He served as Poet Laureate for the state of Oklahoma in 2013 and 2014. Nathan has published 12 books. Most recently, My Salvaged Heart, Story of a Cautious Courtship, Karma Crisis, New and Selected Poems, was a finalist for the Paterson Poetry Prize and the Oklahoma Book Award. And his earlier book, Two Tables Over, won the 2009 Oklahoma Book Award. Please welcome Nathan Brown.
Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it so much. And thanks, Malvern Books. You guys are awesome. Keep going. Love this place. No finer backdrop for reading anywhere. We don't often get beautiful rough-hewn wood and chandeliers, you know, so it's pretty nice. So as he mentioned, this book, it's My Salvaged Heart, Story of a Cautious Courtship. And the best way I've been able to describe it, basically it's a memoir in verse. That's pretty much what it is. It's out of a small segment of my life. I don't usually read like the very first or very last poem in a book, but I'm going to read the very first poem in this one because it's an Austin poem. Through the fog. On a warm Friday night in Austin, corner of 8th and Red River Street, Stubbs Barbecue is hosting a benefit to save Town Lake from the kudzu of condos overtaking its shores. Kinky Friedman's to make an appearance, though no one's seen him. Jimmy LaFave is set to close the show. That's the reason I'm here anyway. His booking agent having slipped me in for free. Everyone else paid 35 big ones, by the way, to help save the lake and drink its relative volume in Lone Star beer. And LaFave's This Land rolls sweet and steady straight through the moan of an ambulance that came to save the girl who, we heard, came between two guys at the loud tequila bar across the street. And something in Jimmy's melting voice means it. It's crack and groan crying out that love is made of art and patience. And something in his agent's eyes glows more beautifully than the last time I'd seen her. And I remember thinking they were damn fine men. But as the mist slips and drizzles down through the stage-lit fog here close to midnight, glazing her slim neck and tan shoulders in a thin, wet, unnerving sheen, I have to grab my male mind with a firm, invisible grip and give a good jerk, repeating to myself, she's not over the boyfriend, man. Be cool. The strike. Her thin arms glisten in a slithering dance that stuns you into a burning surrender. Her eyes, embers, lock on you as the blood floods her face, a deep red fire. Her kiss comes like the strike of a cobra, only you want to die. Because in the fangs of such a moment, the hidden poison tastes so sweet. Me, she, him, and her. The two of us stepped into the cafe, me along as the new boyfriend, to meet with him and his her, the him that my new she now works for. He and my she had a fling a year or so ago when my she was with another and he was with this her, his her who does not know. So my she sat down next to his her who put her arm around mine, and I sat next to him who does not know that I know about him and her. And anyway, we all just had the nicest time. And as for me, and I think my she, we understood that sometimes this is how the pronouns of love pan out. Little Lancelots. Men grow old slowly, at least in our minds. For some reason, the crow's feet and bum knees, along with the pepper falling out of our hair, do not deliver the critical message to that lobe in the smoky bars of our brains where we process images of women. You'll have to forgive us or else find another planet. Like in those great sci-fi movies where you wear tight legless leotards with armbands and big black boots and enslave us in orange jumpsuits with chains around our ankles. But you see, I've done it again. I mean, basically we're all little Lancelots who are living longer because of vitamins and wanting to live longer because of Viagra, refusing to die at the proper age prescribed to us by the wars and plagues of the Middle Ages. And we love women, women of all shapes, all the sizes, the ages, as well as the 3 hair colors, and all because of a damn chromosome. One we did not create, by the way. That southern fire, Houston broods down in the heel of the muddy boot of Texas, a pulsing city that smolders in the pretense of winter and melts steel and bone in the furnace of summer. But my love's freckles glisten with sweat and taste of salt, and the tequila here stings my lips like a sultry kiss, and I am willing to burn to be with them both. I just now remembered, by the way, that that one was in a Texas poetry calendar. I forgot about that. I don't remember which one, but it's been a couple because I've been scolded by David and Scott both each time I miss the deadline. I always get these dirty emails. Yeah. So, making love. I want to kiss your salt-rimmed margarita. I want to lick your pink cheeks when you smile. I want to wrap my arms around your shaking head when you think I'm an idiot. I want to stick my face between your shirts when you hold up 2 of them for me to choose from for our date. I want to rip your clothes off the dryer when you fold them and leave them there on top. I want you to slide me into your immaculate day planner so we can do more of this more often. And of course, I want to do other things as well. The Santa Fe poem, I have a long, weird history with Santa Fe, is where I bumped into more people. One was literal, Diane Keaton, bumped in on the sidewalk in the front of the Palace of the Governors, and it was very hard not to just kind of drop to one knee and ask her to marry me. I thought that maybe that's a little sudden. And since then, though, my good friend here in Austin, James McMurtry, who is Larry McMurtry's son, he's a great songwriter here in Austin. I told him that story about how it's like, I almost dropped down to one knee, and and he said, "You should be glad you didn't do that." And I guess since James's dad and Diane Keaton were together for a while, maybe he had inside information that I guess I should have paid attention. But Santa Fe is also where just totally alone in a bar had Han Solo sidle up next to me and sit down. And that's who he was to me. I mean, I knew he was Harrison Ford, but it takes you a second to make that distinction when you see those people, You look over, it's like, oh my God, it's Indiana Jones. And he was a really nice guy, and he was just wanting change for the parking meter. And I thought, man, you could just pay the ticket. Why is that a big deal for you? But that's what he wanted. So here was another strange run-in. Mail drop, spelled M-A-L-E. We head for tapas at La Boca back around on Marcy Street. And things go well until I spy, hanging out in a general blue jean casualness, Sam Shepard sitting at the bar, a guy who's written, directed, and acted in more movies and plays than is reasonable. And though older, he's still looking pretty damn good, which becomes evident when I discreetly point him out to my beautiful young love, who has her back to him, but then suddenly asks to switch seats, yet not before she feels an urge to go to the restroom, which just happens to be located next to the bar where, as she waltzes by, I notice his eyes follow her all the way to the door, and then do pretty much the same on her return stroll to the table, where I can see she's lost a pint of blood in her facial region, for reasons I try not to ponder, but are reasons nonetheless, which causes her eyes to lose all ability to focus for the rest of the night. Go the spoils. We measure cohabitation by the consolidation of previous divisions of mostly useless stuff. When her pillows come in, my old ones will go out. Her TV, sleek, wide, and filled with plasma, will surely replace mine, all 100 pounds of it, with buzzing tubes and a burnt transistor. In the divorce 10 years ago, the one who left me with the house and its payments, but took the bed, most of the dishes, the kitchen table, and a bottle of bleach. I got the classic literature and poetry. I don't remember a fight over that. She kept the daughter, of course. But today, unloading this one's boxes, I noticed we both owned copies of the movie Dumb and Dumber. So I suggested we toss one. But who will get it, she asked, when we split up? You, babe, I promise. She loved that commercial. She loved that commercial. You know, the one with the little boy and girl sitting on a white bench. They're maybe 5 years old, though he might have been a slightly older man. He asks, Dorothy, will you marry me? And she asks, where's my ring? And he hands her the red candy. And she says, a lifesaver? You know, as if to say, but it's only a lifesaver? Or more accurately, I want a ring, cheap bastard. Anyway, it's all pretty cute. And he reassures her, saying with a shrug, it's a beginning. And his parting thought, though, always struck me as a solid opening to a good novel in the life of an artist. Don't worry, we can live with my mother. There's another Santa Fe poem. It's from the La Fonda. The La Fonda Hotel has this wonderful 5th-story bell tower bar that's outdoors where you can watch the sunset over the tops of a bunch of buildings with a lot of TV antennas, but still, it's pretty nice if you get down low and just look over the wall, and it's pretty fantastic sunset. And this is just a story that I have a bad habit of writing sensual, erotic poems about cocktails. And so this is one. It's called Margarita Down. He just got up and left her there, alone at the table, the bastard. As soon as the sun disappeared and the light show was over, up on the 5th floor patio of the Bell Tower Bar, he abandoned her there, still half full of all the salt and goodness in her heart, half empty of the buzzy love now fizzled out between them. So I stepped over and took her, brought her here to my table, ran my finger gently around the thin circle of her wet lip, then my eager hand down the curve of a shoulder, and assured her with whispers that what was left inside her was enough for me. And a guy come up to me after reading it one time and go, oh, you didn't. And I said, oh, hell, yeah, I did. Margarita's mine. It's half there. I mean, come on. It's like, you know. And I'll end on this poem. Thanks again, you guys. Malvern, thank you so much. I appreciate it for hosting us. And don't forget, Katie and Alice and I, we've got some books over here if you are interested. And see us about those afterwards. And so I'll end with this poem here. It's called X's and Others. It's a little hard to follow, so I'm going to try to make myself slow down right here. So this is how it went down at the Volcano Bar in Houston. We had come to see John Egan play, a songwriter who's my age and suddenly looking a lot thinner and looking good. Who knows how this has happened. And we'd come to listen with my wife's friend, Lise, who was thinking the same thing about John, my lover's good friend Lise, who is recently the ex of my lover's ex's music critic father. And my lover's ex just happened to be setting up the PA system for John when we arrived. My lover's ex, whose new wife was with him, and none too pleased to see my lover there. Well, at least until everyone had polished off a few beers and screwdrivers. A brut champagne here, a Mexican coffee there. And before we knew it, all the exes and lovers, and all the friends and others were laughing and gabbing as if God had planned it all as a sacred consolation prize for giving us the big divine boot out of the Garden of Eden. So my lover met her ex's new other, thought she was sweet, while I chatted with her ex over neck-high bathroom stalls about how good John is and how thin he's looking lately. And when we got back, he and my lover talked with his new other over Bloody Marys while her friend, who's the ex of the ex's father, and I agreed over margaritas that sometimes exes just need to be exes, and that exing them can be a good thing. Almost as good as John seems to be looking lately. Thank y'all so much. All right.